Hi, my name is Rich. I use the he, him pronouns, and you're watching my YouTube channel where I play amazing tabletop role playing games with friends. This is part of a really amazing thing. So, I have been running almost every Saturday for coming up on 3 years today. Almost every Saturday, Star Wars Saturdays. And a few months ago, I've been running it for the Gauntlet community, which is this amazing community, all online. Thank goodness, because the pandemic would have made it really awkward. But all online, playing tabletop RPGs, mostly indie story games and some OSR stuff. And every month, I would choose a different RPG system, and folks from the Gauntlet would gather together. We'd make characters and tell a story. It was kind of an anthology series that I called Star Wars Saturdays. And a few months ago, some members of the community said, "Hey, Rich, how long have you been doing this thing?" And I said, "Almost 3 years." And I believe it was Gerwin who suggested, "Why don't we do a thing like a mini con?" And this is part of that. It's so cool. We're calling it the holiday special, the special edition weekend. We have games that started at Eastern, 4 o'clock a.m. Eastern, and are running all the way to 11 p.m. tonight. And there's even like we spilled over into Sundays. It's a whole weekend of crazy Star Wars games. It's been so thrilling, and I just love how many games we have. Almost 20 games, like 60, 70 spots, tables that are going up like 70 some spots up there. So it's wonderful, and thank you all so much. Now, let me get to this thing now rather than stop gloating about the wonderful thing that we're doing. This part of the Star Wars Saturday special edition is I'm running one of the games that was one of the first games that I ran for Star Wars Saturdays. It's 1%er Swoop Gang. So there's this game by Creepy Doll Studios called 1%er. And it's basically Sons of Anarchy, the RPG. And early on in the Star Wars Saturdays, as I was trying to find different RPGs to run in the Star Wars setting, I was like, man, I would love, because I really like 1%. It's a fantastically fun game. I'm like, I would love to have this game do Swoop Pikers. And I started tinkering and playing around with it. And I've done no real actual game design. This is the game as it was written, pretty much. I just tweak the language to reskin it the way I think of it. And that's 1%er Swoop Gang. I've run this game 3 or 4 times now in Star Wars Saturdays, a few one shots and a couple of mini series. And I'm excited to bring this back. Now, this one's a little tilted, a little different. As Matthew very aptly put, the tone is kind of like the point and click adventure Full Throttle, in that it's just a little bit more cartoony, a little bit more Star Wars PG than the harder versions of 1%er Swoop Gang that I've run in the past. The setting is a planet called Yelsain, which is a tree planet. It's a rainforesty planet. I actually grabbed this. This is, I'm crossing the streams of nerdery because this is from Pandora, but I thought it was a really cool picture anyway, so I'm going to do it. Just look at Sam's pic; it's way better. So it's a planet that has low gravity because of the very low metal content, and it also has a high oxygen content, which for folks who aren't native to Yelsain or who haven't been here for a while can cause them to be a little lightheaded. Also, and I didn't mention this before, but just so we're clear, that one of the regions of Yelsain, the animals are very, very large. So just be advised. That's the thing. Um, yeah. So that's all the settings set up. Let me quickly go over our safety tools. We are using lines and veils. We have a few lines. This is content that we do not want to exist in this story. The lines are against sexual assault, sexual violence, and coercion, harm to animals, and harm to children. So that's just a line. It's not going to happen. Um, we have veils, which means we're okay if this content exists, but we don't want to shine a light on it. So if we just, hey, this is a thing where this is going to happen, we cut away from it. We do like a screen wipe, or we fade to black. And the veils are domestic violence, homophobia, and suicide. And then the last of the lines veils is the ask first, which means that it's situational. And this is a thing where if you're about to bring up this as a possibility, check in with the tables, ask first. It's a thing where you go, I think maybe this might be a part where we could do this. And if any one of us say, can you try it a different way? Then no harm, no foul. Just draw it back and go a different way. And if you're like, that's the only idea I had, just source the table. Hey, well, I can't think of anything else. We'll help you. We have 4 really, really smart, sharp cookies here and me. So 5 total, folks. I guarantee we'll think of something really cool. And I did all that set up to say that we have an ask first to midichlorians. Because I agree. If you do it the right way, it'll be awesome. But if we start having a discussion over comparing midichlorian counts, my brain will melt. Cool. The general tone of the game, I'm thinking, is like a PG-13. And hopefully everybody's good with that. If I step on any of the lines or fails, please just gently remind me, hey, Rich, we have a line against so-and-so. I try to remain cognizant of it. I don't anticipate violating any of those safety tools, but if I do so, it is a pure accident. And please do stop me, check me. It's important. And then to on top, I almost always say Trump, but I just won't want to say that word anymore. I need to go to thesaurus.com. On top of the lines and veils, in case there's a situation that we run into where you're like, I didn't even think to put a line or veil on this because I didn't know X would happen. Or it could even be, I've seen X card on names, right? Because the name sounds like something that reminds you of whatever. So if you run into any content where you find troubling, you can just, hey man, I need to X card this. You can make an X sign. You can drop it into chat, although I don't like watch that as close as I watched you all and your pictures, your avatars. But feel free to X card anything that you need to. When you X card, I'll pause for just a moment. I'll check in if it isn't immediately obvious what has been X carded, just to make sure. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to explain what it is. You don't have to tell us the story of it because it probably is already sucky enough that you had to X card it. So just boom. I just want to know what it is. It's gone. We excise it from our play and we move on. Guarantee that we can improve the play and make sure that you feel safe, right? Make sure that you don't have to deal with a thing which draws you out of the game and harms your fun. And fun is the number one thing for these games from me. So with all of that off the top, let's go through and get to know 4 members of our Tree Punk Swoop gang. I'm going to start from the right on the character keeper and head to the left. If you can introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your character.
So I'll go first.
Yes, please.
My name's Steven. I use the pronouns he, him. And today I'm playing an Ewok named Grizzly, who uses they. Grizzly, their given name is like Tizzy Mystique, but I think everybody now calls him Grizzly. And basically, he was one of the Ewoks that we saw in Return of the Jedi that stole one of the speeder bikes and got a taste for it. And he's all about flying. Like, if he can get there fast, if he can, he does everything he can on his speeder bike. And he's left the forest moon of Endor to join up in this forest planet, and in order to be a part of this gang. But he is a little bit violent, a little bit quick to anger, quick to jump on things, but also quick to celebrate. So
I'm glad you explained how he got from one place to another. That is awesome. Now, did he come here because the planet was similar to his home, or did he come here because he had heard there were swoop bike gangs?
Oh, so I think he
reason?
actually, started speeding around on Endor, and but found that Endor wasn't for him. So he joined a gang on another planet, and then heard through the gang network, oh, there's this other forest planet that is starting up this. So I think he's relatively new to. I forget the name of this planet.
Yelsain.
Yelsain. He's relatively new to Yelsain, but he feels at home here because it's similar to Endor.
Nice. That is really cool. Thank you so much for telling us about Grizzly. Let's move to the left then. Sam, you're up. Introduce yourself. Tell us about your
Yeah,
character.
hello. My name is Sam. I use he and him pronouns, and today I will be playing Tinker, who uses she and her pronouns. She's a human. I think she was born here on Yelsain. She's kind of a lifer. Um, and she doesn't have the reflexes or the kind of the speed that a lot of these other alien species have, but she is uh, sharp as attack and can hot rod anything to anything else. So she can fix anything. She can tear your speeder into a million pieces and put it back together into a whole new bike. Um, so I think she is kind of a like an old staple here. Maybe I think the she's kind of been around the block a few times. I don't know if this is even the first gang that she's been a part of. Um, but I am all for kind of exploring that and figuring out what that history actually is as we play.
Nice. So Tinker, Lumia Selwick, was she born? Was she born here on Yelsain?
Yeah, I think so.
Still have family here?
Um, I want to say yes, but she hasn't been in contact with them in a very long
Okay,
time. I don't think
cool.
they approve of the life decisions that she's made.
That sounds great. I love that. Judgmental family sounds like a great staple for this kind of drama. So I am here for that. That sounds great. Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. Philip, you are up. Introduce yourself. Tell us about your character.
Sure, I am Philip. I use he, him. I go by Snarkade on Twitter, and I'm playing Movin the Catfish. He's an Athorian from a very, very peaceful culture. He was expelled as a pupa, and for his propensity towards violence towards things, because he is a graffiti artist. That is what he likes to do. He likes to express himself on things and places, and he's found a place here because it's sort of out of the way, but still similar to his own culture. And now fell in with disreputables, just like his family always expected him to have done.
That's so good. I have to know, like, Ithorians are big folks. What does he look like on his speeder?
It's very odd because when he leans forward, he kind of looks like a weird mountain range with lots of ridges. Because he'll lean all the way forward. He's almost 8 feet tall. If he stands all the way up, but when he leans forward, I think males have one hump, or he only has the single hump, so he's got that one hump plus his little thing. So if you see it, it basically looks like a periscope with eyes as he's leaning against the swoop.
So cool.
It's a unique look, and definitely somebody that he stands out.
I'm into that. That is crazy. Does he use a translator voice modulator? I've seen that for one.
He does. It basically is it sort of looks like one of the throat boxes, so he can speak Galactic Basic. Other than that, he wouldn't be able to. So nice. he kind of has it. It's so he sort of looks like a really weird paint toting walking hammerhead shark with a tracheotomy.
God, that's crazy. That is awesome. I love it. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Philip.
No problem.
Matthew, welcome. Introduce yourself and tell us about your character.
Hi, I'm Matthew. I use he/they pronouns, and today I'll be playing Shark, a Keldor biker, or sorry, Swoop rider. Keldor. The Shark is a sort of a very sort of a drifter, an outlaw kind of criminal person. He basically has not really found his place in the world, but he just sort of like moves around. He's pretty fit and big for a Keldor, and He tends to see things in very absolute ways. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. Do you have any other questions? I sort of like got lost in like my own character concept actually.
Oh
But
no, I like where you're lost. So,
yeah,
one question I have: you talked about how he normally like moves around. So you're imagining he has not been part of this gang for very long.
yeah. The way I see the way I see Shark is that he like Grizzly just craves like craves the open road, so to speak. Well, swoop bikes don't really go by the road, but the open track.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas Grizzly craves speed, he craves freedom. He craves, just moving from place to place and just sort of like being the man that he wants to be.
I like it. Who was it then that of the three, Movin, Tinker, or Grizzly? Who was it that you think really welcomed Shark in or made him aware of the gang?
I think it would be Grizzly. Like Grizzly saw Shark doing some stuff and discovered that they have a shared propensity towards violence.
Nice. Nice. I like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
Grizzly is Shark. So Grizzly kind of welcomed you into the thing. Um, Tinker, are you then? It sounds to me just from. Oh, that's a good question. Did the two of you come from the same off-world gang?
Hmm.
Can we say that basically Grizzly recruited Shark to come to Yelsain?
Yeah, I like that. I just like the idea of this little, this Ewok who knows talent when he sees it, or knows like a tough dude when he sees it, and just like it's like, yeah, we better bring this wherever I'm going next. I want that guy there too.
Oh, and I think, if you don't mind, I think whenever we first met, we were in a fight, right? And I bit, so you probably have the bite mark, and you picked me up and held me up, and that's kind of how the fight ended. And now we're like tight.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Perfect.
Nice. Oh wow, this backstory is suddenly incredibly interesting. I love it. So then let's say that you guys were somewhere in the Minos cluster, just so it's nearby and there could be other troubles. Were the two of you, when you were on a gang before, were you on a planet which was kind of a desert oasis style planet where Emperor Palpatine had exiled a number of core world nobles? That's called Eliad. They're now in the process of moving back to their homes. Or do you think that you were from the planet of Traven, which it's kind of a nexus point for one of the main trade routes that comes into the Minos cluster? Or did you come from Space Babylon or Space Bollywood, which is Aderlon? Which of those three planets do you think your previous gang was from?
Is this a collective question or an individual question?
It's a question for either Grizzly or Shark, for either of you to answer. So the answers were Eliad, which is the oasis desert with nobles.
I think we'll go with Eliad actually.
Okay, cool. There's nothing wrong with that one.
Yeah. So let me help you with that one. With Eliad, I think because I feel like the Keldor were considered a sort of like respected species in the Old Republic. So I get the sense that maybe Shark came from one of those noble families or one of those clans like centuries ago, right? Or centuries, decades ago. And so over time, his like turning to a life of crime is basically the logical outgrowth of that very, very unhappy place.
Nice. I like that a lot. That's cool. So Shark is actually from a noble family, but he's turned his back on them, and maybe they've headed back to one of the core worlds and left you behind. And yeah, I like that a lot.
Actually, what I would say is that the entire family turned their backs on nobility, on the idea of nobility. They're like, look, we had this pretense of being like esteemed of being high society, and here we are, like we're just gonna make the best of it, and that stuff didn't serve us well anyway. So why should we even bother pretending to still be nobles?
I like that. Cool. So Movin, what is the crime that you're wanted for back on your herd ship, the place that where you decided to leave because of your propensity for graffiti and causing trouble?
In other words, it would be having a difference of opinion, which is very much a crime where I come from. He did a big mural, basically talking about the people that are in power. He just did this. Overnight, they went to bed, they came back, and an entire wall where the speaker's podium was for his town was painted as just this entire podium that showed all of a group of Ithorians wearing stormtrooper armor, gunning down other Ithorians that seemed to have opinions.
Wow.
It was not subtle. But it was, but part of the people said it was well done. So they appreciated that he knows his craft, so at least he's studied. But he had to go at that point.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's great. That's super good. Okay, cool. So let's talk real quick about Tinker. She's the one who's been around the longest. Do you think, Sam, that Tinker's considered kind of the leader of the group, or do you think because she likes to work on bikes, she avoids that level of responsibility?
Yeah, I don't know that she sees herself as the leader, regardless of how other people or the other folks treat her. I'm kind of imagining that she maybe owns or runs a shop almost, and so that's maybe where we all kind of congregate around, and so she feels almost more like a landlord than anything. Like I like these people all meet up here, and it's my shop, and we all hang out and have a good time, and we kind of plan our schemes here, but I'm not like leading the discussions or anything. I'm just providing I'm a provider, essentially.
All right. That's really cool. Good. That answers all the initial questions that I had. Do any of you have questions for other characters or anything that you want to highlight? Hey, I want to explore this or that before we move on. Okay. Feel free that if you're if you have ideas to throw them out. So the next question I have is, there is an established swoop bike, like there are 3 characters from an established swoop bike gang on Yelsain. The gang called themselves the Pit Vipers. Are you guys also part of the Pit Vipers, which means that these 3 characters are a part of your gang, or are the Pit Vipers your rivals? Drama, Lorcy, and Tylo are the 3 members of the Pit Vipers. They're on the NPCs and Places tab.
Personally, I'm more interested in seeing some rivalries come up.
Yeah, they look so human.
They are pretty human.
Except for the Zeltron. What's the species? The Joji is
Oh, Joji, she's actually just a pilot. Sorry, it's the top 3 that are the members of the Pit Vipers.
all right.
I've got notes there. Sorry, it's not really clear from the way I've done the.
Oh, it's my fault. My screen just didn't show the like it's big enough to show everything except her description.
Do we want to make them a bit specious so that they're human centric? Or is
I'm
that
comfortable with the idea of
real
them
life?
being, yeah.
It does dance. I mean, we have homophobia, but speciesism is also kind of near to that in my mind.
Yeah, yeah. I just think it's an interesting coincidence that they're very, you know, very humanoid. We
So
can call them lookist.
are they an established swoop gang here, or are they new, kind of trying to inch in on our territory, or are we coming in on theirs?
Ooh, I think it sounds like you guys are a little on the newer. Other than Tinker, everybody else seems pretty new. So I think you would be coming in on their territory if that sounds okay with everybody else. Maybe they're the ones who've been around, and other than Tinker, a lot of you guys are newer. So cool. I like that. That sounds fun. So you guys aren't you've clashed with the Pit Vipers before. You also know that Drama's older brother is a member of Base Camp's security force. So sometimes they get away with stuff that they shouldn't. But of course, he always gets a big talking to. Not that you guys care.
Can I throw out a suggestion real quick?
Yes. What's your suggestion?
I love the idea that the Tinker used to be a part of the Pit Vipers. Maybe got kicked out.
Kicked out?
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. I love it.
What were you kicked out for? Should we explore that in play?
Maybe I didn't want to go along with one of the plans that they had. Like they had an idea for a big score, and I wanted nothing to do with it, and they thought I should be a bigger part of the gang, carry my weight, and I didn't want to carry my weight. I wanted to fix bikes.
Nice. That sounds problematic. I love it. Who among those three, who do you still kind of keep in contact with, even though you know you probably shouldn't?
Let's go with Lorcy.
Cool.
We go back even farther than being part of the gangs, and so it's going to be tough to actually pull us apart.
Yeah, like a childhood friend kind of deal.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. That sounds great. That sounds really great. Sweet. What do you guys call your swoop bike? Do you want to go with Tree Punks? Are you guys cool with that name, or does somebody have another name they'd rather throw out?
I think since we've had a new addition, maybe we should go with 4 punks now.
That's great. And also terrible. That's very punky to name yourself 4 punks. Any opposition to 4 punks? All right. You guys are now known as 4 punks.
I just want to let you know that right now I'll probably be spending the rest of the, even if you decide on 4 punks, I'm going to be thinking about like swoop bike punk names. Like I might even create a list that you can just spin around.
Maybe that's part of our effort that we're working on our internal branding. We don't really know we don't really know our gang name yet, so we keep trying things out.
What we need to do, Philip, what we need to do is we need to wait for a dramatically appropriate moment to say it. And I don't mean, I guess we're some kind of, Suicide Squad.
Yeah, we are the Firefights. No, we're not. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's a terrible name.
Awesome. So we're at the hour mark. What I'd like to do is just take a quick bio break for everybody, and walk around and think for a bit, and then we're going to jump straight into some action. So let's take like 5 minutes. So we'll see you guys a little bit after the hour. All right. When we open our scene, the first thing that we see is a view over the canopy of this part of Yelsain. And there's a light rain that has begun because this is rainforest world. And the rain hits the canopy, which is, 100 150 meters above where all of you are. We're going to start off with the 4 of you at base camp, which is the largest settled area in on Yelsain officially. There are other places like poachers and the like who will come in, set up a camp somewhere on the planet, but they never stay long enough to be considered a settlement. So you're here in base camp where most everything is made out of wood. Again, they try to keep the metal content here very low, which means your speeder bikes are, either an exception or possibly illegal. The 4 of you are near the market. You see that there are a number of small carts that some of the Yelsain settlers have, the visitors have brought in, these like large shipments of basically like plantains. These large green fruits that are a staple of the diet. There are a number of vegans and folks who don't actually eat meat as part of base camp because they're trying to really live in nature is the attempt, at least from those who originally settled. Tinker, I imagine that at least some of your family is along the lines of like they really are like strict vegans. They try to make a minimal amount of impact on the world. What is it, Tinker, that you guys have? What's the haul that you're bringing in from the outside that you guys are hoping to get a little bit of credits in trade for? What have you found?
Oh, that's good. I don't know how ridiculous we should go with this, but I love the idea of there being like, I don't know exactly what the food stuff is, but it's the equivalent of like trying to get unpasteurized cheese in America,
Okay.
where like it technically it's illegal. It's sort of deemed as like unsafe or unsanitary or against the code of the way this place goes, but there are still people who like connoisseurs who absolutely want this food stuff. I'm not sure. Does anybody have any ideas for what that could be?
Let's go with. I like your idea of the unpasteurized cheese thing. Let's say it's made out of blue milk.
It's great.
Yes.
Blue milk cheese. I love it.
That
God,
means that
I could go
obviously
for blue cheese.
blue cheese.
Actual right now.
It's a little late. It's a little late, Matthew. I mean, it's around midnight. Do you really want to have blue cheese? You might regret that at around 4 a.m. So yeah, you guys have got this like package of. So Movin, is this a thing that you guys stole off of someone, or do you actually like bake cheese on the side?
We tell people we stole it, but we made it.
So no one ever reports it stolen, but you guys.
It's slightly more badass if you steal it, rather than all of us sitting around with chef's aprons on cooking.
I just want to say, Philip, this sounds like an incredibly biker thing to do. To be like, we actually really make cheese, but we have to hide it to like protect our tough dude image, like the real life bikers who take care of cats.
Exactly. This is great. This is great. Yeah, we like you guys maybe in the back of Tinker's shop. You guys do a little bit of the cheese cultures and all that stuff. That is messed up. I love it. Yeah. So, Grizzly, what do you think about this whole blue? Are you a carnivore? Like I imagine that most Ewoks, they seem to be at least omnivorous, if not human eating.
Yeah. So I'm definitely omnivorous, and so the thing that got me to buy into this is we obviously can't sell the cheese here where we're based because that would make it too obvious that we had, that we were the source.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to deliver it. And this means I'm going to all sorts of places just as fast as I can, to little villages to sell this wheel of cheese that we have. So I'm excited about delivering it. And
Great.
I think they actually let me. I think the four punks actually let me pick the place. So I'm like, oh, this place is next to some mountains, and I'm gonna go there so I can, on the way back, I can, explore them and that kind of thing.
Nice. So you guys are moving through base camp. You've got this recent cheese haul that you're trying to market. There are a lot of farmers or log cutters who aren't exactly beloved, but they plant two for everyone that they cut down, kind of thing, so they can get away with it. And so there are a number of log camps and other folks who are here in to make purchases. And so let's take a look. Who's the person who's normally the one who will set up the deals? I know that Grizzly gets to pick, but I don't think Grizzly necessarily picks based off of what's the best profit, more like what's the most interesting challenge. So who's the one who is probably the one who sets up contracts or agrees to sales?
It could also, of course, be that Grizzly thinks that they choose, but someone else influences them and says, well, look at that exciting place there to go to.
That's great.
I love that. I'm gonna offer. I think that Tinker probably has the most contacts and like people on planet that she knows, and so it would kind of make sense for her to be the one actually like getting clients.
Sounds cool. So Grizzly and Tinker, both of you, Grizzly has chosen that there is a new mining camp that has asked for some orders, and they've got a lot of credits that they're throwing around. And so they actually reached out to you, Tinker, saying, I heard you guys might have some access on some supplies, and they kept it kind of vague. Literally Kanji Club. That's hilarious. I love Kanji Club. Yeah, so they've reached out to you and they've tried to set up a meet here at base camp. There is one cantina in base camp where they have asked to meet you. So what's the plan, Tinker? You gonna bring the whole four punks in, or it's a thing where you go in by yourself to make sure it isn't too sneaky? How do you handle it?
No, I definitely don't go in by myself. I'm not that dumb. But I don't know if this is like an everybody comes in. I would definitely bring probably Movin with me because
Movin probably looks tough, but he is.
Look, Movin is actually the better talker of the two of us.
Yeah,
but
but
the better thinker.
To
so
the initial conversation.
Yeah.
So, what is Movin's big weapon? Like, does he have a blaster rifle? Is it just use that crazy staff in your picture? What is the thing that he uses when he fights? If he has,
he actually has a doctored aerosol can that he uses. That he basically that if it's close, it's like a flamethrower.
Holy crap! That's awesome, and unexpected. That is definitely a thing that you could definitely get a drop on somebody with that one. Cool. So Tinker and Movin, the two of you head in. Tinker, what do you tell Grizzly and Shark then? Make them watch the bikes?
I think that we needed somebody out in the street making sure that none of our rivals show up. So I think because I feel like this is there's not a lot of people here, and so any contract is going to be probably fought over and disputed. And so we've done this before. We know that if especially if somebody's come to us with a contract, that means word gets around, and so likely somebody's going to show up.
Yeah,
and I think Movin probably has said in the past that if they're gonna jump us, there's gonna be a lot more of them outside this little cantina than inside. So we could probably handle the 2 or 3 guys that are inside, but the other 17, we're gonna need you guys to handle out here.
Playing to their egos, I see. That's pretty clever. Nice. So Grizzly and Shark, the two of you will be outside of the cantina, while Tinker and Movin go in to try to negotiate this contract, make you guys a few credits. You head in, Tinker, as per usual. This cantina, a lot of glass along with the wood decor. The music that is played here is live. So the live music is mostly percussive bass, a lot of drum stuff. If you guys have ever heard taiko music, I'm kind of imagining a little bit of like a taiko drums with some jazz instruments. I don't know if you guys have like heard that before. Just imagine heavy percussion jazz style music is being played. No bish. It's mostly humans that play the music here. Tinker, you're known. Movin, I think they are aware of you because you've come in for stuff, but I'm imagining the Thorian, like there aren't many of you here, right? So you're probably still a little bit of an unknown property in this little cantina. But the two of you can pick out the folks that are not natural, and you see that there's a Kashiri. They have like purple skin, appear humans, are humanoid. There is a Kashiri who is there with a Rhodian. They are definitely not natives at all. And they're sitting at a corner booth chatting. But the Kashiri, she's kind of keeping her eyes out, kind of scanning as people come in. So Tinker, what do you do?
I think Tinker walks up to the bar and just kind of leans on the bar and looks over at the barkeep. I feel like if there's only one canteen here, I probably know the barkeep.
Absolutely. Let's give the barkeep a name. They would know you. We're gonna call them Hella.
Yeah.
Or Hela. You however you pronounce it's what I'll go.
I like
with.
Gila. Let's go with that. So yeah, Gila. Just need 2 of those. What was it? You made something new last time. It's the ones with the that weird juice that you got a shipment of.
Oh yeah. You want a little bit of that, Tink? That sounds great. And what about for you, big guy?
I'll just have something simple. And then he proceeds to list a drink with like 17 ingredients in it.
She whips out her little data pad and starts like tapping things in, trying to come up with a concoction to meet your very complicated order. Yeah. So she whips out this fizzy kind of smoky drink for you, Tinker, the one that you liked, and she kind of misses a couple of steps in the overall process for your drink, Movin. Are you a complainer, or do you just let it go?
Did she try?
She tried.
Then it's perfectly acceptable.
Nice.
I think as she's handing me the drink, I kind of look Gila up and down and just say, "Hey, what do you notice about those folks over there?" And I think I slip her an extra coin or an extra credit.
Yeah, cool.
As we're paying for the drink.
She nods. The Kashiri is a pilot of a pretty big freighter. I think those guys are from the mining camp to set up. You know, Madar's pretty pissed about it.
Yeah, I heard he wasn't too happy about it, but it's bringing in the credits, and well, credits get things done sometimes. And she winks.
Little chuckle from Gila. Gets things done, and I doubt they're going to make that much of a mess before they pull up. It's not like they can really mine anything here. There's no metal here.
They're certainly looking for something, but thanks for the tip. And she picks up the drink and heads over to the table.
Nice.
Moving waves and heads and walks.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, and when Gila like looks at your reaction, Movin, not that you have obvious facial expressions, do you make it seem like you like the drink, or do you?
I only smile with one of my mouths.
Oh, she does not know if that's good or bad.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's awesome. Cool. So the two of you head over to the table where Joji, Turkin, and the Kashiri and the Rhodian, whose picture I'll throw up in just a second, are. But we're going to cut outside to Shark and Grizzly. They've been in there for a while. They're probably just getting drunk. What are you guys doing?
So Grizzly is actually very reluctant to get off of his bike. And I think they just kind of zip around back and forth, almost like pacing, but like as fast, almost like popping a wheelie, right? You're just kind of doing tricks because you're bored.
I would say that while Grizzly is doing that, I think, counterpoint is that Shark is just sort of like leaning against like like maybe a lamppost or available surface, and just sort of like surveying the area while also watching Grizzly like pull tricks. Like this is our MO, like yeah.
You're the stable one. He's the kind of flighty one. Are they?
And every once in a while,
one.
Grizzly will tear around the building, like around the block or something like that. The pretense is, he's going to check everything out, but he just can't stand to be still.
During one of your circle arounds to check things out, Grizzly, you see 3 swoop bikes all come in from. Actually, they're coming through the trees. They're not coming through one of the trails that have been around for decades. They just kind of zip through the trees. It is, sure enough, the 3 members of the Pit Vipers, Drama, Lorcy, and Tylo. They come in and spot you, and they start. They're not going to attack you, not in base camp for sure, but they notice you. I think they like to give you guff, right? To kind of give you trouble. What do you do?
Yeah. I think they do the equivalent of pulling up alongside and flipping you off, right?
Totally. Yeah. They're like a rival. They're like a rival frat. They're just that level of maturity, I think.
So Grizzly's not stupid. He peels around to the front of where the bar is, but instead of normally he would go around the front of the bar or something like that, he goes around the opposite, kind of building. So it looks like he's patrolling that area. So they think he's, something's going on over there. And I think that's also a sign to Shark, something's different, something's going on.
Yeah, so something seems to be going on. The Grizzly didn't come back the normal way. What do you do about the Shark?
I get on my swoop and discreetly just as discreetly as a loud swoop bike can go, to rev up the thing and sort of like go with Grizzly, sort of to, draw more attention there.
Okay. Cool. All right, so it seems like you guys are trying to maybe draw their attention away from your buddies. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let's just do our first die roll. Love it. Okay. So drawing them away from the cantina, we're going to call it like a normal difficulty, right? So the normal difficulty means that you're going to need 2 successes. So the way that when we roll dice here, you figure out who's the primary. You figure out if you're being cool or being badass, and what thing you're bringing in, and if any expertise applies. You compile all those 6-siders and roll them together. You're looking for 4, 5s, or 6s. The other piece is that since you guys are working in concert, if the other person who isn't primary wants to spend one of their carks, they can give an extra die, but then you actually have used that up. Just because he's so low on carks, it might be a good idea to have Grizzly lead, but I'm open to whatever.
Well,
I think it
narratively,
makes
that makes
sense.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I think narratively it makes the most sense too.
So I'll be the lead.
Okay.
And let's see, what does that look like? I think so. This isn't dangerous yet, right?
No, there will
So it'd
there
be
will not
cool.
be tension in the in the roll. So I think you're also being cool. It totally works.
Yeah. And let's see. Oh, I'm totally using my hog, right?
Yeah.
Trying
totally.
to. So I think that's 4 dice. I don't think any of my expertise comes into play unless I want to set a building on fire. So I think I'm rolling 4.
All right.
Okay.
So Matthew, do you want Shark to spend one of his carks? Since
I
you've
think
got
so too.
many?
Yeah, I'll spend my first card. It is spent. How else do I support Grizzly?
Yeah, you just explain how you think it looks, and then that's all you have to do. You're good to go.
So what is it that you're doing precisely now that we're here at the building, Grizzly?
Yeah, so basically I came out from the backside and you saw me kind of flip around and then tear off the opposite direction from where this entrance is. And I think I'm kind of going around the other side. And so can we tell if the tree punks, if the pit vipers are actually after us? Are they that close?
Yeah, well, they definitely are gonna.
So I
You
think
can
you
draw
see
them
them
off,
kind of
yeah.
swoop. They definitely look like they come out and they follow me, right?
Mm-mm.
That's kind of what we see.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
that sounds cool. I'm into it.
Yeah, I would say that as I come into approach with you, like your hog is already like going, real wild, and mine just makes this like loud, like belching noise that really draws, attention, almost as if like there's an indication that that there's a sense of urgency to our movements, and that's how I justify the card.
Okay.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah,
And adding a card adds a die, right?
Correct.
that's right.
I'm rolling 5, so let's see what that looks like. 2 successes.
Nice. 2 successes is exactly what you needed.
I got 2 even dice and 3 odd. That's right, correct?
Oh wait, sorry.
Oh, and I have a 1.
Hold on. So I did say that tension was not involved, and I'm double checking. Is it evens or is it? Sorry, I can't remember if this game used to be evens or if it's 4, 5s, or 6s. Crap, I feel like an idiot. I just realized when you asked that question, I'm like, crap. Hold on a second.
On page 11, for every even die that comes up.
Okay, yeah. So you're looking for evens. Whew, thank you very much. So you're looking for evens, and you said you got 2 evens and a 1. I did say tension was not involved, so that means that that doesn't draw down your carks, but you are successful. And cool. So, yeah, you draw them off. They're going to give chase. They think something's interesting going on, and they fall for the bait. They don't realize Tinker and Movin aren't around there. And you see that Drama actually calls out and it says, What are you running from, you bunch of chickens?
And I think that, my response is to do like a little bike trick, right? Swoop up the side of a wall or something like that. And I think at the same time, I do the equivalent of like squelching the radio. So this is just an alert, something's going on. and so that the other two who are inside the cantina get a little bit of feedback all of a sudden.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so we cut back because that's the perfect like jump to. So Tinker Moven, you approach the Kashiri and Rodian, and the Kashiri, she's the Rodian is kind of just studying her drink a little bit. She seems like she has her drink. She's just watching a little bit. There's a little steam wafting off. It's a little bit of a warm kind of cider. But the Kashiri, she's got her arm over the back of the booth. She turned very openly, watching you guys as you walk up. You do see that she has have those totally dope looking boots with the flames on them. Just if you're looking at the picture of that Kashiri.
Yeah, that's fun. So I think Tinker walks up to this table, pulls one of the chairs out, so she's not sitting square to the table. She's just kind of sitting at like a 45-ish. Puts the drink on the table and a little bit kind of spills, and she immediately pulls out a pocket knife and starts cutting her fingernails at the table.
Nice. Is it a vibro knife that you've got off, or is it just a regular, like real plain knife?
No, I think it's like a multi-tool, like a screwdriver knife.
Oh, totally.
Like,
that's very Tinker.
yeah.
So Tinker grabs this chair. Moven, what do? Are you just kind of standing there looking menacing, or?
Moven also walks up and he grabs a chair, and he spins it around like Slater from Saved by the Bell, and he sits down that way, which in some ways looks a little cool, but in his way, it's just how the physiology works with the chair, that it just allows him to be a little bit more comfortable. And then he just sits down, at which point he hears the squelch, and he kind of makes a little, it's an uncomfortable sound to him in the comms, and
Nice.
and just starts to keep an eye on what's going on.
I like that.
Yeah, you catch the squelch as well, Tinker, but I don't know if it bothers you nearly as much, but
Yeah, I think Tinker kind of tries her best to keep cool.
Moven was overruled about the squelching being a signal. He didn't like that as a signal.
So the Kashiri is the first. When she speaks, the Rodian actually like looks up with a start, like she was lost in thought. The Rodian is also female. I've got a picture of them on the NPCs and places. So Joji says, "Greetings. Would the two of you be, either of you be the Tinker that I reached out to for some supplies?"
Yeah, some people call me that.
Oh, Joji, this is Suvo.
Nice to meet you. I haven't seen you around before. It's not often that we get new faces here in town, but always nice to see someone willing to talk. What can I do you for?
Well, I heard through the grapevine that your crew might have access to some supplies that are not regularly found here at this base camp. She looks around. You can tell the way she says base camp is like she's trying to remain neutral, but there's obviously like she looks down on this just a teeny bit.
Yeah. And I think I
go ahead. Sorry.
I think I specifically got this drink because it is bright blue, and I just kind of moved the drink forward a little bit. Like I think I know what you're talking about.
And Joji will she grabs the drink. Like maybe she didn't know if that's what you're talking about, but she thinks you just offered her a really cool looking drink, and she takes a big gulp of it and then slams it down. Wipes the mouth of the back of her hand. The Rodian is just staring at you, Mova. It's kind of uncomfortable. This Rodian, she hasn't said a word.
Moven takes his drink and brings it back so they don't drink his drink.
The Rodian says, "That's a type 4 translator, is it not?" Her little proboscis kind of flaps a little bit as she asks the question.
Yes, you have a good eye for this sort of thing. Most people don't even know that it's a thing.
Is it painful?
It's less painful than not being able to communicate.
Oh, I speak Athorian.
That's interesting. Most people don't. It's simply it's difficult when you only have a single throat.
Correction. I understand Athorian.
Okay, that's even more impressive because most people find it difficult to sit through those classes. I know how an Athorian can instruct. But thank you.
Joji interrupts. Like, this is way too much like talking about it. It's like Joji says, "Oh, we're interested in this cheese you guys have access to. There's a few of the miners want something better than different. We'll go with different, right? That's less offensive, right?
You don't have to explain yourselves. People have their reasons. Right? Never mind. I know what you need.
She pulls out a little pouch and she counts out a measure of like 20 credits, half up front, the other half when you guys deliver to the camp.
And I kind of poke through the credits with one hand, and I stick
It's
the knife in the
mismatched.
table.
There's like, yeah, it's mismatched. Like there's some Imperial credits which kind of worthless, but then there's also a few New Republic credits, and then like a few of those like blue, almost plastic looking, I can't remember what they called them, but the one in the Mandalorian where he like he laid down that particular
Mon Calamari.
Yeah, the Moncall. Those weird kind of doubloon things.
I think I pick up the Imperial ones and I'm like,
I lean forward and I go, it is for something blue. We should probably get blue money.
my friend has a point. If we're going to get the first half up front, we have some costs that are going to be associated with this, and our vendors don't like taking the Imperial money. If we can at least get the upfront half in, let's say, Mon Calamari credits, go a long way towards making this an easier deal.
I told you, Sufo. She slides the Imperial credits back and drops them. And then she picks out a few more of the Moncall credits. Fair?
These are prettier.
Listen, not everybody loves our presence, so if I were you, I probably wouldn't make it known that you're heading our way.
Oh, we had already planned for that, and I pick up the coordinates that Grizzly has quote unquote picked for the trade-off. I slide them back over. I don't think that we're necessarily going to be welcome around your camp either, so we picked a spot to trade.
We're also known for being subtle.
Joji smiles. Good. Well, you have the location. We have a few more things to take care of before we head back, but good luck. And she cinches up the pouch and slides it back down. And then she reaches. Did you take the drink back, by the way? Or is that effectively hers because she took a drink of it?
Basically hers. She drank most of it. It wasn't a big drink in the place.
Yeah, she totally finishes it. Slings it down. This is good. I'm going to get one more of these. And Zuvo says, just one, please. So we cut back to Shark and Grizzly in your chase sequence. I think that the Pit Vipers, after you did the squelching, it's on for them. I think that Drama and Tylo are both going to give chase while Lorcy pulls back a little bit, more like she's just riding, like she's writing observation, kind of, oh shoot, what is that? Like overlook, right? She hangs back a little bit, and they seem like this is some kind of race that you've just impromptu challenged them to. I'm sure, Grizzly, that is an okay interpretation for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shark, Grizzly has just pulled the pit vipers into a race out of nowhere. You know that within moments, you guys are going to be real far away from base camp. Are you going to let this go on?
Well, what Shark is going to do, and I feel like this is a tactic employed by Grizzly and Shark frequently, which is as Grizzly speeds off and increases the gap between us and them, um, Shark sort of subtly slows down, and then suddenly like brings him to really really slows down, and at that moment sort of brings out a weapon like maybe I don't know the equivalent of what is a tire iron on a swoop bike attached to a chain, and proceed to assault one of the bikers, preferably the one with the smuggest look on their face, basically.
How about the one that held back, right?
Oh, you're going after Lorcy? She
Oh
hung
no,
back.
I think that would be a really really far distance. So I think I'll try to, if this keeps up, I would be working my way down to Lorcy. But for now, stay sort of in the middle because I don't want to get too far from you. What happens if you get in trouble on in the front?
Nice. Okay, so if you're intending on attacking Lorcy right now, that's cool. All right, just so I'm clear, do you want to hit their Overwatch, like slide back and take her, or do you want to go for the one who had the biggest smirk? Was Tylo? He was the one who was eyeing
I'll
you.
go for Tylo then.
Okay, Tylo's
Yeah.
he's trouble, so that's great.
I
Awesome.
think has a perfectly valid question. Do I hit the person or their bike?
Yeah. What do you want? What's your intention?
How good does this bike look?
I think that his bike looks like kind of an Imperial speeder bike that's had some aftermarket changes to it. So imagine what you saw in Return of the Jedi, except he's added a little bit more color to it, and it looks like he might have a little extra energy pack kind of bolted onto the side to try to give it a longer life.
Can we actually, if you don't mind, can we actually say that the Pit Vipers have, like, they're known for how their paint jobs and their vinyl and all that kind of stuff, whereas Tinker for us make sure that our bikes are all in good order, but they might not have the best paint job, right?
I love that. That's a nice differentiation. Yeah, so it's like a slick green with these like cool leaf patterns that are going on. This is a kind of speeder bike that if you parked it in the middle of a very forested area, you just lose it.
But that's exactly the detail I'm looking for, Rich. Which is, I like the idea. There's a touch of, I mean, if I'm getting this right, there's a touch of vanity to the bike.
Oh, absolutely. He really cares about this thing.
Yeah, that's what Shark is all about. Shark is all about when you want to disrespect a person, you hit them where it hurts. And why? And I am like, it's very satisfying for Shark on a guttural, instinctive level to beat someone's face in. But as far as the situation is concerned, the bike is the one that's taking it because it's all about disrespect, man.
Awesome. So you're going after the bike then?
Yep.
All right. So let's set a difficulty. Tension is involved in this roll. So that means that now if you roll ones, that's going to draw down your very plentiful carks. And this isn't, there aren't necessarily like a lot of back and forth goes in this style of game. So I set a difficulty. You hit it, you're slagging, maybe not slagging, but you're definitely taking out his bike. And so we're going to say that this is hard, which means you're going to need 3 evens.
All right.
Involved, so all ones are going to draw down against you. Definitely being badass. So
all right.
What do you think of the things you're trying to use?
You mean so you're asking me which like things to declare, I guess.
Yeah, like things, head, jaw, heart, hands. I could see hands being part of this if
Yeah.
you're looking to attack. Or
Yeah.
also because you're using a weapon, you could say tools.
Yeah, I'd say hands and badass, and I guess the expertise would. Well, I'm not assaulting him, so I guess it's vandalism.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get an extra D6 for that.
All right.
You just know how to break stuff.
Yep. So, 1d6, 4d6s once you count the hands, and 5, 6, 7 for badass.
7 for badass. That's right. Adding all that together, and then any card you want to spend ahead of time will give you extra dice.
You know what? Let's go with 1 card.
Okay. So you're rolling 8 dice. You need 3 evens, and
All
any
right.
ones will draw you down a bit. See how
All
it
right.
goes.
Let's see. Roll. Let's see. 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. And we are rolling. Let's go. What is that?
Oh my god. That is 1, 2, 3 evens, which means you have successfully met the difficulty of 3. However, that is also 1, 2, 3,
3,
4,
4
4
sheds.
1. So yeah. Okay. I will give you the choice. Is this a thing where he strikes you, or do you want to take some harm to your hog that effectively that hurts your carks? Who takes the damage here? It's still going to draw down your carks. I'm just wondering from a narrative perspective, did Shark get physically hurt, or did he try to mess with your bike while you were messing with his?
I would say it's Shark who gets hurt. I like the idea of when I take out the weapon. I mean, forgive me if I'm stepping over for the narration, but like when I take out the weapon and I try to attack, he's sort of like not anticipated, but he's sort of ready for that kind of thing, and then goes for the face, goes for Shark.
I like it.
Yeah.
Cool. So he's got kind of a weapon that looks like somebody took a Gatterfee, the Sand People's weapon,
Yeah.
but like thawed it off. So it's almost like it's got that weird little pokey bar part, and then the little flange looking thing, but he's cut it off. So it's not a big staff. It's just this thing that he reaches over and kind of whacks you a couple times with it, but then you boom, and he's headed towards a tree and he has to bail. Yeah, he basically takes off as his beautiful, he spent months on this thing getting it was just right, because slams right into a tree. And he drops into the onto the ground, and he hits hard. Like he's gonna be remembering this in the morning.
May I add something to that?
May.
So I think inside the cantina, that's about the time that Movin said, "We're known for our subtlety." And off in the distance, we hear this thunderous explosion as the speeder bike hits the tree.
That's awesome. Perfect. Good. So
And
yeah,
Movin is convinced because his people are right outside. There's no way that would be them, because they've got our back.
Yeah. Allow me, if you'll permit me a little bit, Rich. So what I'd like to do is, like, when I take the injury, I sort of like feel it, like Shark basically makes a big show of taking the injury, looking like he's vulnerable, so that it lures what's her name?
Drama?
Yeah, Drama. So that it makes it appear that I'm open for Drama to take advantage of the situation. And that's when Shark speeds up a little bit, but definitely, sort of like, yeah, come get. Oh, look at me, I'm smarting. Come get me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Drama is right now, she's worried about her friend. She kind of looked over her shoulder, but she's racing you, Grizzly. Has she beaten you before? Or has she never beaten you before?
That depends on who you talk to. right? Grizzly, of course not. Of course not. Yeah,
Grizzly has never lost a race. What are you talking about?
that's right.
Totally.
That
Or
may
if they
not be
did,
true.
or if they did, they cheated, right? So
Yeah,
Yeah,
so she's
yeah,
a
exactly.
terrible cheater. The worst cheater. Awesome. That's perfect. Cool. So yeah, she's pushing it, and then she's not gonna go after Shark right away because she's trying to race you. She thinks as you guys are headed down one of these trails, you're zooming along, zipping past the trees, and it's like, woo, 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 woo. And you see up ahead is one of the banana carts. Right, some people that are arriving, they're pushing through the rain, and you got one guy who's like trying to pull it. And there's another guy from behind pushing this big banana cart as you guys are zipping along. So what do you do, Grizzly?
So yeah, I think Grizzly actually dips down like he's going to hit that banana cart and tries to flick it back up in Drama's way.
Ooh, nice.
Kind
I
of do a
love it.
side by. I think she's smart enough. Drama's a good enough rider. She wouldn't have gone into the bike. She would have kind of split to go around. But if I knock it just a little bit or spook the guys, they might flip it over so she runs into it.
Oh yeah, I can see that. That sounds good. So let's say that this is also hard.
Okay.
And I also think the tension, like something could totally go wrong here. You've got rain, you've got all the trees, the speed, the guys in the banana thing or may get a little spooked like you plan to do something unexpected. So let's have you build that role. You're being badass because
Okay.
that's pretty crazy what you're doing.
And I think I'm all about the bike, so I think I'm using my hog. I'm definitely not using, theft or arson or anything like that. So I don't think I've got anything there. So that gets me at 6 dice. And I'll risk a cart to go up to 7, and we'll see what that looks like. That sounds right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so you're looking
Okay.
for evens, and ones are going to hurt.
I got 2 evens and 1-1. Oh wait, no, I've got
Okay.
3 evens. I've got 3 evens.
Oh man,
A
that
6, a 2,
two,
and a
that
6.
two got
Yeah.
you. Okay,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Sweet. So 3 evens, which means that you're successful on 1-1. So you like whip around, and the banana cart's going to fall. What do you think? Is it one of the guys at the banana cart reacted? No, like he hit you? Do you think that maybe you dinged your bike as you were doing the maneuver? What do you think was the one cart? Why do you think?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think that as I dinged the cart, it caused the bananas to fly up in the air, but of course it put a big dent in the back end of my bike. And
Nice.
I knew this was coming, so I knew how to adjust the bike and still fly straight. But you can see that it's kind of wobbling a little bit more than it did. But I don't think the cart was actually damaged. I think the contents, all the bananas, kind of flew up and kind of caused obstacles in Drama's way.
Yeah. And what Drama does, she's definitely the best rider of the crew. She like throws her bike where he's kind of slides to the side, and then the grav push from the bottom, those the grav plates, just throw like it splats a whole bunch of bananas everywhere, and it gets all over her. And there's one guy who's getting covered by the mush of the banana, and he reaches out and he grabs the speeder bike of hers to hold her in because he's going to blame her for all the mess that was just caused. Grizzly, you took a ding, but you can take off right now if you want. What do you do?
I think I do a little, yell of victory, woohoo, and do a big circle around and then sweep back to catch back up with Shark.
Awesome. So Shark, you saw what Grizzly just pulled off. Maybe you were thinking about heading back for Lorcy, but once she sees what happens there, she peels off and she's heading back to check on Tylo and see if he's okay. So you guys have kind of broken them unless you want to really push it. Shark, so what do you do as you see Grizzly circling back around for you?
I sort of like give a motion, like so I'm on the bike, and I sort of give a a silent face to Grizzly, to check, if he wants to pursue Lorsi, because at this point, Shark, always defers to Grizzly for something for a tough call like that.
And I think Grizzly basically speeds off back towards where the cantina is, because that was fun, and I think the fun's kind of done. So the response is, let's go back. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we do, both of us.
Okay. Cool. So let's go back. Let's cut back to Tinker and Moven as you guys are as Grizzly and Shark. You guys will arrive back. Maybe you get back in time before Tinker and Moven come outside, and they're none the wiser. We don't know. Tinker and Moven, once you've sealed the deal with Joji and Suville, what's the plan there? Anything more you want to do in the cantina?
I think this is a get in, get out.
Okay.
You want another drink for the road since they took your drink, a little road soda?
No, we need all of this.
Okay.
Also, I'm kind of pissed that she took my drink, so I'm just kind of out.
Moven keeps walking out. He's got his drink's got like a crazy straw in it.
It just leads up to one of the mouths.
Yep.
That's awesome. So the two of you step out, and that's when Shark and Grizzly come zipping back in. The rain is dissipated a bit, so it's just a little bit of drizzle. And because of the canopy over the outside, you guys got a little wet. Grizzly and Shark got a little bit wet. But anybody that's in base camp, because there's no canopy, if you don't go stand underneath the eaves of the different thatched roofs, you can get super drenched in here because there's just, base camp has no canopy above it. Yeah, so Grizzly, Shark, you guys see Moven and Tinker have been standing outside for a moment as you guys pull up.
And I think we do the, typical kind of come up, and instead of skidding the bike in the dirt, it's skidding it in the water, and there's a spray of water that kind of goes off to the side.
Nice.
And we're like,
And because we're a progressive representation of their franchise, there's definitely like water staining the camera.
Exactly.
What the fuck were you guys doing? You guys were supposed to be here.
Oh, we were protecting. The pit vipers came by, and we took care of them, boss. It'll be fine.
Okay.
You might even get some business repairing one of their bikes.
Oh God.
Moven at this point takes out a blaster and goes, "You took care of him?"
Well, we beat them, so it's fine. They're licking their wounds. Yeah.
You beat them, or you beat them?
And I think Grizzly looks up at Shark and's like, yes.
Oh, no.
I don't think the translation module is working.
Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Well, let's get out of here. This is not gonna go well. We got what we came for.
Nice. It feels like a good cutscene. In fact, I'd like to go ahead and go to our second short break because we're at the hour. So let's take like 5, and we'll be right back. Okay, so when we come back in, I kind of like the idea. You guys tell me if you have a different idea, but kind of the idea of the 4 punks as you're skimming along one of the rivers headed towards the mining camp. Just give the idea that like you can definitely go faster. It's too easy maybe for Grizzly because you just go across the surface of the river here. But Moven, what is some danger that lurks within the river that makes this just a little dicey?
It's mating season for flying fish. So you're never quite sure when some of these rather large fish will jump up and spawn, which they can only do in mid-flight. So and they're rather large, enough to cause a problem with a speeder bike.
Nice. Sweet. So Tinker, you've got the coordinates. You know that the mining camp is up ahead. It's actually on one of the mountains that the river kind of cuts past. So this was the quickest, easiest route to get through. It's also pretty visible though. So do you guys want to just go ahead and head up that way, or were you going to cut out at some point and hit the trees and make your way through?
Yeah, I don't know that Tinker is necessarily the person that would be leading this. I think we're mostly just Grizzly knows where they're going, and Grizzly has got an eye for where the clear routes are, and they're particularly good at it, so we're just following them.
I think Grizzly's actually a little reluctant. Like, they're just speeding along, and then, oh yeah, I have to slow down. So it slows back down a little bit, and you can tell that they're not real happy with that, and then speeds back up, and yeah.
I would say Shark would quietly take up that role. He would just sort of like kick forward and take a certain sort of responsibility to keep the path clear. It really fits his sort of open road philosophy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nice. So then, Shark, since you've stepped into that, figuring out the approach, let's say maybe there's like a little hollow display. It's all like, the bluish colors of the mining camp itself and the coordinates. You can actually slide up the river to get right to it, but that's a very kind of open approach. Anyone that's keeping their eyes on the mining camp would see you guys coming up, or you can just pull off onto the shore and then pick your way through. But then of course it becomes a little more dangerous. You're either going to need to slow down, or trees. That's a problem for speeder bikes.
I think a direct, the first option you said, where it's more direct, is probably the tack that Shark would take.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Simple,
it's really tough for me
tack.
it's really tough for me to RP Shark verbally, because I realize he's the most silent character I've ever thought of in a while. So I don't have like a moment where his voice comes up.
Okay, that's good to me. But I think I'm getting a good picture of Shark from the way you describe how he does things. Doesn't always have to be verbal. Awesome. So you guys head towards the mining camp. You see what is probably, because you'd heard that Joji was a freighter pilot, you see that there is a clearing. By the way, this is not a natural clearing. You can see that they mowed down a bunch of trees to make it happen. And you see that her freighter is pretty large, and it's a kind of freighter where the engines are up high, and then they can drop this huge area that comes into the main holding bay. And there's a lot of metal. They are moving out on grav pads. There's a tarp over them, but they're moving these grav pads in, and you see that there are there's a mix, not as many humans that work here as you would see back at base camp or any of the other logging camps and the like. There does appear to be a number of Rhodians who are here, and a few Wookiees. They're doing kind of the heavy lifting, the heavy labor of pushing. Right now you see 3 large pallets that are these tarp covered, whatever it is that they are mining. Grizzly, Shark is leading the way along the rivers, along the riverway. Oh my God, that's a terrifying vision. That's awesome. Very that image is very this what's the Disney movie? Yeah, Tron. Yeah, it's the Tron. Sweet.
The music just started pulsing in my head, and I'm terrified.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say that the Joji and Suvo have made their way back to the camp. Yeah, maybe you guys had other stuff to do. But yeah, you've got your cheese. Shark, you're leading the way. You see them heading up. you see that they're hard at work. You also see that they have a few armed guards, like just keeping watch on stuff. They don't seem to be guarding people or anything as much as just watching out into the trees as if whatever they're doing might cause violence to happen. So what's your approach, Shark? As you guys get closer, you're coming along. You can see that they don't, while the mountain itself is cut by the river, there's a good, 300 meters of from the shore all the way up to where this mining camp is. So, Shark, what do you want to do?
I'd say he sort of like looks at the situation and is uncertain about that. It's sort of like wary, and then begins to look to Mobin and Tinker and sort of like ask what the to get their advice.
Cool. You've gotten the what do you think about this look from Shark, Moven?
Yeah.
I kind of shrug, kind of look around and say something like, I don't know, want to race there? Yeah. Which is very out of character for Moven. So apparently he's feeling a little, feeling a little bit, since you're kind of out in the woods a little bit, that it's a little bit, more comfortable for him.
Cool. What about Tinker? What's her reaction?
Tinker is not happy that they cut down all these trees. I think Tinker still holds on to a little bit of the local culture, I guess. Grew up here. So it's a job, but she's not happy about it.
Cool.
So I think this is definitely kind of soured the mood for her, if nothing else. Just kind of made this whole thing a little bit more of a chore and less of a fun thing that we're out here doing.
Yeah.
While everybody else is like, oh yeah, let's go race, and Tinker's just kind of holding back and being frustrated. No, let's just get this fucking job done and get on with our lives.
All right, so we'll push on forward then.
Okay. Grizzly, you notice that Tinker doesn't seem happy right now. You see her reaction when she sees this camp. Do you know what has upset her?
I actually think it's probably the same thing that's upset me. I'm having kind of flashbacks of, I've seen what happens whenever off-worlders come in and take out some of the trees, and then I see the guards that are there, and I'm like, okay, so Grizzly's paying. He's taking a cue from Tinker, which, right or wrong, is I'm paying attention to the guards, right? I want to make sure they don't get out of hand and they're not going to come after us.
Cool. So do you guys just curious, is this a thing you're now wary, Grizzly? So I imagine you don't do a drive-by. You're not going to buzz them or anything like that. You guys take it easy approach.
So, normally Grizzly would have been, kind of more fun and zipped around and everything. And I think at this point, Grizzly, kind of eyes Tinker, is like, I got your back, and slides over, keeping a watch, and we approach slowly, or at least Grizzly does.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think seeing that visible change in bike posture between Tinker and Grizzly is Shark's cue to also sort of reduce the pace as well, and sort of even though his tendency is to seek a clear path, it's now it's not like he doesn't know how to do subtle either, so he just sort of does that sort of the ride low kind of situation.
Awesome. So as you guys start coming up from the river, you notice that one of the Wookiees that was watching Guardy brings up his, giant bowcaster. He's watching, peering, like he's going to take a shot, and then, or, covering you at the very least. And then Suvo, the Rhodian Tinker, and Moven, you recognize her. She comes up and says something, and then he lowers the bowcaster, and you guys are able to approach. So the camp here, do you see that it's that they've set up a number of tents, that it's very impermanent, the structures that have set up here, and there are some folks that are working pretty hard to get things covered. When they come out of the mine itself, the stuff is covered in tarps. The mine is new, like they must have some kind of boring instrument where they have just punched into the surface of this mountain. And Suvo says, "Oh, you're so quick, so quick. Come along, bring the cheese."
What we're known for, I guess. And I think just kind of based on the posturing of our gang, I think it's maybe like on this like hover pad, like behind Tinker's bike.
Cool.
Like there's like a dolly or something that's basically being like towed.
Totally.
And so I think this is the like Tinker hops off her bike and is like walking it with this big kind of hover thing alongside the like past the guards, and she glares at them, glares at this Wookiee who's daring to point a gun in her face.
There are dozens of people in this encampment up here. You don't know how many more are down in the mines. Shark and Moven, you guys glance at the Kashiri. She's got a hat on backwards, and she's directing some of the people to move and place stuff inside her ship. She's very particular about that. And you also see that some of the miners see you guys arrive, and then there's this big grav pad of obviously stuff, and they're kind of elbowing each other. A couple of the Rhodians are speaking to each other in their native tongue, like, oh, they're pretty excited about whatever's arriving. And Suvo directs you to push this grav plate set of unpasteurized cheese into one of the tents. She's kind of rubbing her hands, and she occasionally will like reach out and touch with her little, sticky fingers on the stuff and take a look at the cheese. She's pretty excited about it as well. Are you guys all kind of staying close together? Is anybody looking moving around, going away from what Tinker's doing?
I think. Wait, sorry, just to get this right. Is this when they look at the cheese? Are they like in a enclosed environment, or are we just out here in the open?
Oh, you guys are out in the open. Like they've knocked down a whole bunch of trees on the little, for lack of a better word, plateau area where the mining camp is, and then behind the mining camp is the mine itself. So this is just right outside the mouth of the mine is where you guys are all. But she's checking the stuff as she's directed Tinker to take the grav pad into one of the tents to kind of drop off everything.
And the mine is not really pertinent to our cheese situation right now, right? Well, what Shark does is sort of like walk a little bit short distance away from that group and sort of crouch and kneel and just sort of like survey the area and watch around, trying to understand what this place is, see if there's any kind of secrets or not secrets necessarily, but just sort of like getting a lay of the place,
Cool.
Yeah.
What is Moven doing? Sticking by Tinker? You see Shark kind of peel off, squat down, and
he's sticking by Tinker. He knows that Tinker's not necessarily, in a great mood right now, but Moven is looking around for the largest flat surface that he can tag.
Okay.
Whether it's the side of the ship, whether it's the side of the building.
Side of the ship would probably be the largest flat surface. Yeah. That
He's
freighter's
he's not acting on it, but that's one of his general moves. He's like, that is a large amount of real estate that I could paint.
Oh, nice. So what about Grizzly? What are you doing?
Grizzly, I think, is moving slowly on the bike, kind of jerking and starting a little bit because it's not intended to go this slow, but has positioned themselves between the rest of the gang and the guards. So sort of, being the rear guard kind of person.
Okay, cool. So Movin and Shark, Movin, you glance over at the largest flat surface, but you're also kind of looking around. Is there any other place that would be cool to tag? And Shark, you're squatting down looking. The two of you both see this at about the same time. There's a newer graph pad that there's a Rhodian that's pushing it up, and he seems to struggle with it for a little bit. And when he ends up at one point, it tips a little bit, and one of the tethers on the tarp comes undone, and you see a couple of these crystals kind of roll off of where they've kind of packaged it in, and the Rhodian quickly scrambles over and picks up these crystals. You've never seen a crystal like this at base camp or anywhere else, and he quickly kind of shoves it in, and they there's something about them. There's a weird kind of harmonics to it when you hear him moving those crystals, like a low like hum that you hear. What do you do? And I think there's a moment where the two of you guys maybe like make eye contact, and you both realize that you both witness the same thing.
Yeah. I would say I don't call exactly the nature of the killer species canonically speaking, but I would gather that they would be I guess if it's not canonical, I would gather that they would be sensitive to that kind of sound and maybe sort of like respond to it and try to like figure out. And so Shark is trying to figure out what that is about.
Well, I think Shark should make a roll.
All right.
Cool. So I think this is kind of a cool thing. There's no like super danger going on, so it feels like you're this is happening while you're being cool about it. Trying to think about this. Sorry, but I do. But which of the things do you think applies here?
I'd say maybe be cool using heart.
Ooh, nice. You're trying to. Oh, I like that. That sounds interesting. All right, cool. So we're going to call it a normal difficulty. Are there any expertises? Don't know if any of those really feed.
No.
Yeah, not what you're made to do. So heart plus be cool. You got 3 dice. You need 2 evens. Do you want to spend any carks?
I'd like to spend at least 1 cark. Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth noting that the Keldor are like they have a very sensitive respiratory system, and the whole way that it works is that they do wear like breathers, right? But even with the breathers, like for the purposes of gameplay, we just like say that that's not an inconvenience or whatever.
Right.
But I'd like to think that even with those masks on, they're still very hyper aware of the nature of the air around them. You know what I mean? It's like,
oh, cool. I like that.
Right. It's like even if people stop, it's like even if you clean a pan, sometimes the pan still has the smell of garlic or the smell of lemon still stuck to it, no matter how much you remove it. Yeah. So just for flavor. So that's this roll is gonna be
4
2
dice.
hearts. Yeah, 4 dice. You know what? Let's make it 1 more card.
Okay, 5.
And then
dice.
after this, and then I have to figure out how does one regain cards.
Oh, great question. So there's a few different ways. you can either bonding is probably the easiest way to do it right now. Bonding with your fellow gang members will allow you to regain some cards, kind of remind you of why you guys go out and do all this crazy stuff together. So
Sure.
we'll carve out a bonding scene for you very shortly. So
Yeah.
you're rolling 5 dice. Oh, Movin, are you doing anything along with this roll?
Can I assist?
How would you assist? You tell me how, and we'll let you throw a Karkin if you want.
At this point, I think that Movin is kind of just talking out loud about what he wants to paint on the side of the ship, and I think that allows he's a little bit vocal, so anybody that would pay attention to Shark is kind of doing their thing is kind of distracted by this giant Athorian kind of speaking to himself and rambling.
Nice. That's great. That's a perfect excuse for you to spend a card. So now you're rolling 6 dice. You need 2 evens.
That's 2 evens.
Tension is not involved in the roll, so ones aren't going to count for you. Or hurt.
Oh, wait. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Okay, good. 2 evens, and we're talking 1-1.
Oh, the one's fine. And you actually, you succeeded. So that's great. You would have gotten 1 more die because of the help, right? It should have been at 6. You spent 2 yourself, and then Movin spent 1 as well. But a success is a success. Just squeak by. So Shark, you get to tell me how it is that you recognize the smell of a kyber crystal.
Oh. Why don't we say that there have been many force sensitives among the Keldor species, so I don't think it's uncommon for someone to have a distant relative, who was part of the lightsaber wielding traditions of ye olden days. And I guess maybe that's a scent that Shark is familiar with. Here, let's work with what we got. You said that we agree that the family is a family of exiled nobles, right?
Yep.
And maybe they were exiled because they were a clan that it was not of the force wielding tradition, but they were involved in some of the activities that contribute to the harvesting of crystals from Ilum. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And once the emperor decided that this clan is disfavored, and also they're not human, like they were just basically, take those guys off. And so we have our family has a few like impotent kyber keepsakes, here and there, but yeah. So it's
there
family.
you go.
It's family business. It's old family business.
Oh, one of your sisters has one of those around her neck, and so you've recognized the smell and the harmonics of it, that feeling of it.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's what they seem to be mining, kyber crystals.
I look to Movin, and I say, I tell him exactly what I sense, because I know that, and at the risk of sounding a little speciesist about this, but basically I know that, the Ithorians do also have some force sensitivity in their tradition, so I'm just going to assume that it's a point of interest for him, that it's worth disclosing. Whether or not he cares is something else altogether, but it's just like, I'm not gonna like keep this information to myself if I think it could be of interest to someone like Movin.
Actually, question: Where are we falling in the timeline?
Oh, great question. It's after Palpatine is dead. He fell down a shaft in Death Star 2. He's dead. He'll never come back. Maybe a year after that. So the New Republic is around, especially in Minos cluster where you guys are, but they haven't really established anything, if that makes sense.
He's never coming back.
Mandalorian timeline. There's the shorthand. There we go.
So I probably know that kyber crystals are useful for lightsaber creation and the Jedis, but not that it can be used for like advanced weaponry like in the latest movie. So
Probably.
I'll kind of look over and go, just a bunch of rocks at this point, aren't they? Not exactly
Nice.
a lot of people clamoring for kyber crystals unless you want to put together some sort of gift shop or something.
Sweet. So we'll cut back to the interior of the tent. Tinker, you and Grizzly, I don't know so much Grizzly, but like you're offloading the little bits of cheese, and the Rhodian opens one of the packages and she takes a bite with her little, proboscis mouth there and makes a sound of pleasant. Oh, this is so good. And a few more Rhodians move in. What are you doing?
I think I smack her hand away and say, "You haven't paid for that yet."
Oh, nice. she turns back and she says, "I'm sorry. I thought Joji paid you the other half." "No, of course not. She's at the, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry." And she moves over and she opens up this kind of case that has a big computer in it. And she pulls out a bunch of credits that are kind of in the side of the case. She counts it out, and it's all, this is all like, I think, yeah, she deals in New Republic credits, not the cool Monk Hall. But it's all New Republic credits, which spend different.
They spend
Expend rate, different exchange rate in different areas. But she brings over and she offers them up like a big fistful, 20, more than 20, maybe like 25 credits worth there.
Do I notice anything particularly interesting about the other contents of this box or this crate?
Oh, yeah, you do. So you kind of glance over her shoulder and look at that computer, and you see that the computer itself appears to be like a nav computer of some kind that's been, you can tell somebody's kind of played with it a little bit to give it some other functionality. But the main thing that you notice is that there is a New Republic symbol on it. One of those like bolted on insignias. This is property of the New Republic, but it's been kind of like modified and played with and messed with. So maybe it was stolen, maybe not.
I am particularly skilled at slicing and retrofitting things. So is there like, could I tell if this is like an illicit thing, or if it's a
I'll say just at a glance without going in and touching it, that will be a hard difficulty. If you could get in and play with it, though, you could just figure it out. But just at a glance, I'll say this will be a hard roll for you to figure that out if you want.
yeah, let's roll some dice here.
All right.
Um
You're being cool.
I'm definitely being cool. I think maybe I can pull my knowledge of tools,
I agree.
because I think that's kind of what's going on here.
Yeah.
And slicing.
Knowing about computers
Is
and
using
and
computers and
stuff.
droids.
Yep. Sounds good. So that's 7 dice you got.
And I need to get 3.
You need
successes.
3 evens.
I think I'll live with those odds. That is 3 evens and a
Wow.
1.
The 1 won't count against you because tension's not involved in the roll, but 3 successes will get you. So you can tell that this is still a New Republic device that evidently wasn't good enough for what Suvo wanted to accomplish.
Okay, so they are part of
yeah,
the New Republic.
Do you think they're part of the New Republic? And it appears that what she's modified in is that housing. You can see there are a few testers. Like she's modified this device to be able to test things like crystals, metals, that kind of stuff.
She added a prospecting unit to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that.
We're fair. We're square. Yes, the cheese is ours.
And I count through the pile.
There's extra. I gave you more.
Frustratingly slowly, of course. And then I pour it all into a bag and zip it closed and give her a curt nod.
Nice. Grizzly, as all this is going on, what have you been doing? There's a few other Rhodians who are very excitedly like waiting to pounce on this cheese. What are you doing?
So I think I'm zipping back and forth really slowly, just kind of doing laps around the tent. I'm nervous, and I think, as I kind of eye the guards, I think I get on the radio and I get on the radio to Tinker and say, we should leave here soon. These people, they don't belong here, and they should get off planet as soon as possible. So I say this to Tinker.
Yeah, and I think Tinker is.
Let's say everybody hears it, right? It's on your,
yeah.
your shared comm signal.
Yeah,
So Movin and Shark, you guys hear Grizzly suggesting you guys get out of there soon.
I tell them that there's definitely something up about this place. Whatever, and I mentioned the Kyber crystals, right? And I say, like, whatever they're doing here, I don't think it will spell good news for this planet.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Like,
I don't think there are going to be a lot of people who are happy that this place is here, me included. But that's not our job. We got what we came for. We've got the money.
Yeah, let's leave. But we
Awesome.
should advise them to leave too.
So yeah, Grizzly, you recommend we should advise them to leave too when Joji comes running down the gangplank of her big freighter and she yells out, "We have to go! Code red!" And that is when this mining camp just springs into action and they are all headed towards the freighter. And Suvo looks at you, Tinker, you should leave. You should leave right now. And she ignores you. Like you are not even part of her concern anymore. As she quickly in Rhodian starts telling you to grab this and this. And she closes down the case. And these people are packing up. They're trying to immediately evacuate. Tinker, what do you do?
Me twice.
Nice.
I think this is I probably like wheeled the bike into this tent because the carrier was behind it. I just cut the cable on the dolly at this point. Like I'm not even gonna bother really unhitching it and just like wheel the bike around. I think it's more interesting if I cut through the side of the tent with the bike.
Just slice through the canvas of the tent and you come out.
Yes, pretty cool.
I like it. Movin, do you see there are people who are just like grabbing as much stuff as they can?
Is there somebody close to me that is one of the people in the tent, one of the people in the camp?
Absolutely.
I grab the closest one and I just go, "What is this code red you say?"
Nice. And we'll say that it's a Wookiee. And again, this is Star Wars, so you understand what he's saying. He says Empire.
They're gone.
Not all. He's just, you leave. Be safe.
I go, "Where are they coming from? Ship? Land?"
And that's when you guys see up in you see these little egg, little T's, appearing in the horizon, and you start to hear the and you see that there are 6 TIE fighters that are just dropped into the atmosphere. And you see this large shadow of a triangular thing and above it. So, Shark, what do you do?
I get on my bike too. I try to get the hell out of Dodge with the rest of the gang.
Sweet. So you're hopping on your bike, trying to get out of here. Movin, you spoke with that Wookiee, and the Wookiee, like, he looks at you for just a second. He says, "Go, be safe. May the Force be with you." And then he runs off. And Grizzly, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think Grizzly is like he sees the whole place erupt, and he gets on the as soon as the whole place erupts, he gets on the mic and it's like, we got to get out of here now, and he tears off, but kind of waits at the edge of the camp impatiently. You can tell that bike is raring to go, to head back.
Nice. So Tinker, these guys aren't worried about you. You see that there are TIE fighters. I assume, Tinker, you're familiar with what a TIE fighter looks like. They are bearing down on this mining camp. And you see that everyone is trying to rush into the medium freighter here. It's large enough probably to hold most everybody. You guys can take off if you want.
Yeah.
I message everybody. I go, we should probably get away from the biggest target.
Which is no, we're getting back in the woods. I'm still not happy about these guys being here. Is there any way that I can snag a crystal on my way out?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You want to go up to one of ride by and just grab it off of one of the
Yeah,
things that they're
like
starting to
lean down
load?
off the bike and just like grab what, because I'm assuming that everyone's like crazily running around, and there's probably another
Mhm.
one of these
Oh yeah,
parts
yeah.
that's like tipped a little bit.
Yeah, there's one that's like it. We'll say that in their haste, one of them tipped over and it spilled out all kinds of crystals. And a couple of the miners started to try to scoop it up, and that's when Suvo says, "No, no, no, let's just go," and they leave it. And so you can kind of swoop in and grab a few of these crystals as well. As you guys are, I assume, leaving, one of the TIE fighters comes in on an approach vector and then just fires blop, 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 and it's boom coming down right in the camp, and then bam hits the mine, and the mouth of the mine explodes, and you see that it causes a very large cave in. And you hear a male voice cry out from the ship, like he just watched someone get trapped in that mine, but he's grabbed by a Wookiee and shoved into go, we have to go. The engines are starting to prime on this medium class freighter. Movin, what are you doing? You see the Tinkers grab some of those crystals. What are you doing?
I basically hop on a bike and make sure I'm heading towards the outside of the town, not going full speed, making sure that our gang is there. I'm on the lookout for anybody that may not make the ship that I can obviously see, because I figure my bike could handle one more if I needed to.
Nice. Cool. So you, sure enough, you catch sight of. Oh, let's grab a different species.
Wait, what is it? I'm sorry.
Pardon?
It's all right. Nothing.
Oh, did you have a suggestion?
No. I was thinking of something else. That's right.
Oh, okay. Let's say that there's a Togruta who, as everybody's starting, the gangplank is starting to close. You see there's a Togruta who's just come from the woods, and he's looking and he sees what the hell's going on. Like he's afraid he's going to be left behind. So what do you do?
I swoop over. I grab him. I go, hop on.
Nice. Cool. So we'll call this a hard maneuver. Yeah, we'll call it a hard maneuver. And you're definitely, I think you're being cool about this, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like cool
Now,
stuff
if I was physically grabbing him and putting him on the thing, I think that would be badass. But I'm more like, get on, just trying to coax him onto getting on.
All right, cool. So we'll go with be cool. And I think you're using your hog, right? Trying to speed along and get there fast. So that would be a total of 5. Do you think any of your expertise work? I don't think so.
Nope.
So you're at 5 dice. You need 3 evens, spinning a cark. So you can roll 6 dice. Okay.
Okay, so that's 7 dice, right?
Yeah. And
carks.
as you do that, like the gangplank is closed and the ship is starting to take away. So your speeder bike, you can actually, get some air if need be. So you still have an opportunity to pull this off.
All right. Okay. Let's see. What do I need for a success?
Evens.
Evens. So I 1, 2, 3, 4 successes.
Nice. What does it look like as you kind of take off to the air and bring this poor Togruta up so he can board onto his ship?
I kind of just I figured that the Togruta isn't necessarily going to get on the ship. It's just going to go with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's one of those where I figure this person isn't going to make the ship. So I just don't
get
want
left behind.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Awesome.
So I basically just pull up, kind of do one of those sideways spins, and go hop on.
Nice.
Yeah.
So do you guys vacate this camp as these TIE fighters are just, 2 of them are just doing nothing other than racing around and doing firing runs to obliterate the mining camp, take out the mine itself, destroy everything they can of it, while the other 2 are taking off after the freighter and pursuing it?
Our problem.
Not your circus, not your monkeys.
Yeah.
I think the best course of action we have here is get out of Dodge, keep ourselves safe, and maybe bring back some folks with some extra like heavy duty equipment to try and open that mine back up and get anybody who might still be in there out after everybody's left.
Yep.
Nice.
For now, I don't think there's much we can do.
Totally makes sense. So you guys vamoose, and maybe we do, so I'm looking at time, right? We'll kind of work this into epilogues. So you guys take off, you zip along the river, you see that one of the TIE fighters that was chasing after the medium class freighter is blown up. The other one's still firing on it as it goes and then zips out of the way. And then that large triangular ship disappears as well. You guys head back, and we'll just work into epilogues. I'm really curious how this kind of snippet, remember, it's a one shot, sorry. But we'll epilogue out what this looks like. So let's go from left to right on epilogues as we bring our game to a close. So Matthew, Shark, what is Shark's epilogue? What do we see?
Ooh, sorry, I feel a little on the spot there.
No problem. You want me to jump to anybody else? Does anybody have an epilogue in mind that wants to kick off? Philip?
So Movin basically makes it back to our base camp, gets off the swoop bike, turns around to the Dakota and go, all right, Dakota, spill it.
Nice. And
Wow.
yeah, he says, we found out there were some Kyber crystals, but we knew that a remnant of the Empire was after it too. We were just here to get as much as we could, as quickly as we could.
What would you do there?
I mined. I had a pick. It's still there, probably.
All right. So at which point, he starts to sit there and he goes, he looks at him and he goes, have you ever made cheese?
And he looks like surprised and confused, and I think that's the cutaway on that one. As Abuza Vire, the Togruta who was left behind, is now going to learning how to make cheese.
A life debt as a cheesemonger.
That's right.
I almost feel like that's where the circular white thing should happen. Make cheese created by George Lucas.
Anybody else have epilogues they wanted to throw in?
Yeah, I'll toss one in. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, if we're still going in character keeper order, I can go.
Okay, let's just go in character keeper order. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is the scene where Tinker is like on the shop floor. She's covered in like grease, and she's like pulls up a welding mask and is like pulling apart some part of the bike that might have gotten damaged in this scuffle. And one of the crystals falls out of her pocket. And maybe like a spark from the engine like lances to the crystal and it starts to glow a little bit and she like picks it up. Oh, that's new.
Oh, that's delightful. I love it. I love it. Cool. What about for Grizzly?
Yeah, so if you let me retrofit things a little bit, I think what we see back at the camp, we see those two TIE fighters, right, that are going after it. And Grizzly's kind of itching to go. But as soon as the TIE fighters come in and start firing, Grizzly knows all about these TIE fighters, right? He's seen this, the Empire come in before. And he tears up on his speeder bike, right?
Ooh.
And as they start to shoot, one of them, he whips and kind of does this circling maneuver and tosses down the equivalent of like a Molotov cocktail, right? It's a homemade like little thing, and it doesn't do damage, but it splashes all across the cockpit, and it starts to wildly go out of control. And then flash forward a little bit far in the future, and you see Grizzly down like on the ground. And so far, we haven't seen him off of his speeder bike, right? Down on the ground, and there's all these people who are gathered around, and he's drawing out plans, right? This is like, in the dirt with a stick. This is how we're going to defend the area whenever the Empire comes.
Nice.
So,
I like it. That's really cool. Thank you. Yes, I prefer that version of events vastly. That's great. Cool. Circle back. Matthew, anything you wanted to add for Shark?
Yeah. Okay. So since everybody made since I really love how Mobin and Tinker gave some juicy beats there. I think it's inspired me a little bit to go for something a bit more dramatic. And so how about what we do is so Shark is sort of like at the base or the garage. I forget what they call it, and he's sort of like wordlessly thinking about what he's seen there and remembering the memories of his family, his disgraced noble family, and it's at that moment he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out that he has the necklace that his sister used to wear with the really, really tiny kyber crystal.
Ooh.
And so that situation has triggered a memory, and this might be a little excessive, but just indulge me. And so what he does is he holds it out before him and he holds his hand above it and sort of closes his eyes. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, he closes his eyes, and then the crystal trembles, and that's where we cut.
Ooh, cool. I like it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. So that will bring our game to a close. I was trying my best to be at time, because I don't know if anybody has a game butting up against this, and I didn't want to rob you of that opportunity. So hopefully you guys had a good time playing 1%er Swoop Gang. I've really enjoyed running it for you. I enjoyed the PG-13 slant that everybody leaned into, and I thought these characters were super, super interesting. That's the thing about a one shot. It just makes me angry that I can't see more of Movin the Ithorian, and I want to do flashbacks to his herd ship and learn what was it that drove him to what did he see that he would do these paintings of Ithorians and stormtrooper armor. Oh, just so cool. And then Shark, I want to do moments of him meeting back with some of his exiled noble family now that he has this kyber crystal, and Grizzly, the war paint covered warrior defending, because obviously the Empire's going to circle back around now that they know their kyber crystals here, and then Tinker caught between her allegiance to the four punks and possibly this new found power that she might have. All those are just so compelling. So great job, everybody. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just want to say, Stephen, I neglected to mention you in my roundup of compliments, but yeah, I really love that flash. Is that a flashback? Yeah, it was a flashback or of Grizzly. That was super cool.
I'd like to see us a year in the future as we're storing our now improved amount of cheese in the cave with the kyber crystals. Then you see like a little lightning spark across the cheese, and just wonder like what's this gonna do?
Rich, I just want to say I actually forgot this was a one shot. I know you said it like 3 times today, and it went in my ear, and I remember you saying it, and it came, but it just went out the other end.
I wish it weren't true.
So here I am planting. So here we are planting seeds we'll not really get to realize.
It's a really good. It didn't get picked up by the service because of something, but it was a great series. It was an awesome pilot. It was like Firefly. Cool. So I'll bring this to a close. Thank you all again so much for playing. And I'll stop the recording here.